KKHT wants you to meet the classiest guys in real estate.
This is Tim O'Neill, the icon of insurance.
I'm Chris Kelso, the Meister of Mortgage.
And I am Rob Cook, the godfather of real estate. And together we are
The Real Estate Rat Pack. Much like us, real estate in the greater Houston area is hot.
So whether you're buying, selling, owning, or insuring real estate in the greater Houston area,
you need to check us out as we are the preeminent source for everything you need to know.
And now, they're here to take your calls and answer your questions live. Call now 1-800-808-5548. The Real Estate Rat Pack.
Good morning, Houston.
And surrounding areas.
and all the ships at sea.
And all the ships at sea.
We had a great bus trip again this week.
We did. We had a really good bus trip this week.
Shout out to Joella and the gang.
And the gang over at First American in Cyprus. Great bus down there. Had a really good time. I want to give a big shout out to Lori Costa, who had a very good grand opening yesterday up in Magnolia with Capital Title. And man, we've had...
Speaking of title companies,
Oh, my. We got one of the best here in
right
studio
here,
with us right here.
Dave Dickinson with Alamo
With
Titles.
Alamo.
So
yep, no, it's a great week, and and by the way, a big shout out to 30-year anniversary to somebody, right?
For whom?
You know, bada swing bada.
Let me think.
Ferris
Would that
Bueller's
be
Day
Ferris
Off.
Bueller? 30 years, huh?
30 years, can you believe it?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Bueller.
They actually were
Bueller.
interviewing Ben Stein this morning. That's what brought it up to me. I was like, that's pretty funny. Yep, Bueller.
That's a classic.
I know.
That's a classic. So we got a great show.
We always have a great show, but today is a great show.
You know, I've been wanting to get this beautiful young woman on the show for a long time.
Yes.
And it's our own with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services.
Anderson Properties.
Tiffany Curry, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We just hadn't been able to get it all coordinated together. So and you're in our location over right there off of Kirby in the sweet spot, aren't you?
Yes, I am in the luxury division at Upper Kirby.
Yes, and then Tip and I have a long history of volunteerism together and stuff. She's been with HAR doing. I think you were Realtor of the Year in 2011. 11.
Congratulations.
Youngest ever.
Youngest ever.
Wow.
Yes, and she was with
I thought the volunteerism was more like we voluntarily drink wine. We voluntarily drink.
We did that too.
We do that too. We do that too. And you were WCR president for Greater Houston.
That's right.
And you were the chair of the, it used to be NRG, now it's YPN, the Young Professionals Networking Group for Realtors and so forth. So you got pretty accomplished for a young age. So
Yeah.
kudos to you.
Yeah,
and
you're
actually
taking
did
me
real
back.
estate too.
And I sell real estate.
Yeah, so talk to me. I know you were in a corporate position before you got into real estate. How did you want to end up transitioning over to real estate? And I guess the biggest question is why.
Oh, wow. Well, I was doing my second college degree, and one of the girls that was sitting next to me in one of my management courses, she said she wanted to do real estate. And I was like, I want to do that too. So I was like, okay, so we'll get our license. But she never did, so I got mine, and I said I'll try it for 6 months because I was going to go to law school afterwards, and October will be 10 years.
Oh my.
10 years.
So you were like 13 or 14 when you started?
Yeah, I was actually 3.
That's awesome. So what's the focus of your business? Is it primarily Interloop or?
Actually, it's you know what? As it's evolved a lot. Primarily, it is Interloop, but now it has stretched out to some of the suburbs. So I have a great referral network with brokers all across the nation, and so they will send their clients to me, and so wherever they need to go, that's where we're going.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So the network is up through.
The network is through from HAR. I started doing NAR with the young professionals,
Right.
and
The
that
YPN group.
that YPN group. And it has just soared. So
I think that isn't there some fair housing laws being broken here? They're only going to do it with the younger realtors, the ones that are under 40.
well, they do have an OPN.
Old People's Network.
Yeah, we'll get you in that one.
Rob, I thought you were president of that one.
Oh wow! I knew it. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it.
Yeah, Dave's your vice president.
So you should aspire to be older. And you keep acting like that, it may not happen.
Hey, I'm the
Just saying.
secretary right now. Don't worry about it.
Sponsored by Geritol and Depends
And AARP.
quite a bunch of sponsors there.
AARP.
I lived in denial for so long. When it started at 50, they start sending you those AARP, start sending you all those little notices. I threw them away for 10 years.
Right.
So now I'm a proud member.
Now we recycle them.
Hey, look, my dad, he used to do the same, but he embraces his now. He can't wait
You get
for
a
his discounts.
discount at the movies.
He get discounts everywhere.
Anyway, so tell me what the markets look like, because we've gone through a shift. When 2008 we had a downturn, then 2010, 11 started really coming back up, and then it was 2012 and 13 were just getting smoking hot, and now it's kind of cooled in some of the price ranges. What are you seeing?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of cool down in the market, but it still goes back to the number one thing in real estate: location, location, location. So if it's a great location, I mean, it's going to fly. And then also it depends on pricing and condition. Some of the fundamentals of real estate, I can tell you, I had a listing right around from our Heights office over in Norhill, and that thing went like immediately, 2 days.
Heights is still hot.
And, we had it advertised for open house, so we still held it open, and I had 28 couples to come through in 2 hours.
What was the price point on that house?
It was $515.
$515.
Yeah,
That's
and
still, one of the hot spots.
well, and I tell you what, it's a 1,386 square foot bungalow, so it's a small house.
Wow.
That area has seen great appreciation.
Norhill's really
Yeah, they've
desirable
made
area.
almost $200,000 in equity in 4 years and not done any remodel. So where else can you do that? That's huge.
Probably not in the stock market.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're working with a lot of people that are being referred to you by young, so I'm assuming that you probably end up working with a lot of people that were also under 40.
Actually, yeah, it's actually interesting because yesterday I had a closing with millennial buyers, and it can be different with millennials versus Gen X and versus the baby boomers. So they actually drove in from San Antonio just to make sure their closing went through, and I said, hey, you guys can sign in San Antonio. But they had issues with their lender, and I see we got great lenders here. So
Well, we got one great lender right there.
We have issues with our lender, too.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do about his ability to lend money.
We feel for the guy. Oh, boy, do we have issues with our lender.
Yeah, and our insurance agent.
Hot kettle.
UT. Just saying.
But what's great with the millennials, what we're seeing is I am seeing a lot of them and working with a lot of them. What's cool is that we're seeing them at a transition point, like starting new careers and getting their lives started, which is really neat. And it's a very interesting perspective because you know that they're going to move again within 4 to 5 years. So those are great clients
Is that what
to have
we
for a
call
long time.
Dinks. Double income, no kids. Dinks.
Yeah,
Dinks?
basically.
Double income, no kids. You haven't heard that term
I've
before?
not heard that before.
No, I have not heard that, actually.
Well, that's what happens a lot. They'll have a young couple, and they both got great jobs out of college, or they're maybe
Yeah.
on their second job, and they've got 2 really nice incomes, but they have no kids. So, and we know how expensive kids can be, don't we, Chris?
Yeah, I
my!
definitely know.
Yeah, that's an investment in your future.
Uh-oh.
Yes, I definitely know.
In the icon over here, he knows all about it, having 4 of them.
4-time survivor.
4
Yeah,
times
he's
survivor.
double.
Wow.
So, but that does make a difference on people's ability to buy.
Well, it really does. Well, I can tell you from their standpoint, one of them, she's actually going to be doing medical residency here. So she got to take advantage of the physician's program, which is really awesome because it's 100% financing.
Oh, wow.
For doctors. Yeah.
That is awesome. I've seen a couple of programs like that. Every once in a while, you'll see a nice program come out that'll be for professionals. And
For
it's usually
professionals.
For the doctors and possibly attorneys and
That is
things like
correct.
that. But they seem like they come and go. It's like they'll.
Well, the one for physicians, I've seen it. It's because I do a lot of physician referrals just because I have different people in different states. And Texas, of course, Houston.
Number
our
one medical
Texas
in the
medical
world.
Center, number one medical in the world. And I live in the medical center. So I work with a lot of physicians. And that's been around for a long time. I think it's going to continue.
Yeah, well,
You
yeah,
know,
it's gonna grow.
and it's a good market because I mean one of the things that we talk about this all the time is it's the number one industry. It's the one that it's the one that has a very good income level as well.
And it's the
traditionally-
one that's not going anywhere.
and it's not going anywhere. I mean, physicians are staying around. In fact, we can't fill the void of as many physicians we need to hire right now.
So we had a little bit of rain in the last few weeks, and
We did?
Did you? You didn't see it on the news?
I didn't see that.
Well, remember you saw that exhaust sitting out water. The
There's
18
got to be a
wheeler?
segue here somewhere.
Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
segue. It was at the medical center. Had after it was not after Ike and after Allison and stuff. They had issues and stuff like that. If they kind of fix some of that stuff over there? You're over there all the time. They're still getting a lot of flooding in there, or
I live right in front of 288 at Mosaic, so we don't get flooding.
well, if it floods at Mosaic, we're really in trouble. Buy an ark.
So I don't get flooding. But 288, I do I know when it's bad because I just look out the window and I'll see 288 underwater. So the bayou has, of course, they did the renovation on that about 5 years ago. So that catches a lot of the water, and then the freeway catches the rest. So basically, our neighborhoods in that pocket are not flooding.
Well, that's good. Well, I actually talked to some engineers. Our roads are actually designed to hold the water rather than the houses and the buildings hold the water. So, I mean, that was the whole idea. But sometimes you get, like 500-year flood like Allison was.
Yep.
And
well, I will say, since you brought that up, because I did have a client in North Houston whose home flooded, because, I asked you about a recommendation. What I will say is her neighborhood is not in a floodplain. It never floods. Recent community within the last 15 years.
Well, the occurrences would belie that claim, by the way.
Right, but I tell you, her neighborhood, that area got 26 inches of rain, which was extreme, and it couldn't hold it. And she had 7 to 8 inches of water in her house.
Oh my!
So all of the 7 to 8 inches is completely torn out throughout the house. And she was one of very few neighbors that had flood insurance because people just didn't think they needed it. But now they have thousands of dollars worth of damage.
Here's my 30-second elevator speech.
Yes.
You get enough rain in a short enough period of time, anywhere in Houston,
Anywhere.
can flood.
Let me tell you something that Tim told me the other day on air on another radio show when we were interviewing, and most people don't realize
Are you cheating
this.
on me, you guys?
We're not cheating you. You've been there plenty of times with me as well.
Okay.
And one of the things Tim pointed out on air, and he said, by the way, most people don't realize, all of Houston is a flood zone. It's just a matter of how it's classified. One is considered a 500-year floodplain. The other is considered a 100-year floodplain. But all of Houston is technically in a flood zone. So why not, no matter if if you have the ability to get flooded at any point, as you're saying, get flood insurance. That's my 30 seconds.
It is always my recommendation, because if you're not in that zone where it's considered a flood zone, it's pretty inexpensive. What do you think?
$400.
$400.
Can't
Right
beat
there.
it.
Annual.
Yep.
That's it.
Annual, yep.
Can't beat
And you
that.
do that, don't you, Tim?
I do.
Yeah. And when we were in Washington, D.C., we were talking to our congressman. They are actually having some legislation going through that is going to allow for the private sector to come in and do flood insurance.
Okay.
So there might be some competition out there.
That'd be pretty good, actually.
Well, the concern that some people had was that to get people in competition, FEMA goes away, and all of a sudden then the rates start going up because it's private.
Right.
So I mean, there's it's a double-edged sword. But
Yeah.
the having availability for wind and storm and flood is really important in Houston, Texas.
No, I would thoroughly agree.
So anyway.
Well, what do you see the summer coming around looking like?
I think the summer's going to be very hot. I can tell you that. And not just the weather.
Wow.
It's gonna be hot.
It's going to be hot, So I think the summer is going to be great. I've already seen a huge, all my listings right now are under contract except for one, which we just listed.
Awesome.
And I feel like that one will be under contract within the next 10 days. It just depends where it is, but if it's a great location, or if it's a nice property, because you do need to have a nice property, then it's going to move. The summer is the best time to sell your house.
Oh yes.
The best time to sell your house.
We're in the season.
Put it up before school lets out.
Yes. Well, but people
Right.
want to get into there before school starts again.
That's right.
And
And
school's
as
about to let
Rob
out.
always says, he says listings are the lifeblood of the industry. So if you're thinking about listing, do it.
It's always it's a good time, and
Yes.
it goes back to the real basics, like Tiffany was talking about. Price it right,
Yep.
and stage it. Make sure that it's clean, and the way you sell a house is not the way you live in a house.
Exactly.
Yes.
Get rid of
That's
all
true.
that stuff. Get rid of all the clutter, and get
And
ready to
always
sell.
look at it from a buyer's perspective. Don't think about what's important to you, because nobody cares about that.
Yeah. Tell sellers to put their buyer hat on.
Yeah, put
Yep.
your buyer hat on.
'Cause a lot of times
Would you
sellers-
buy your house right now?
And they go, we'll
No.
but actually they
Yeah.
say, well, of course, mine's special,
They're all special.
just like everyone else's, right?
Well, Tiffany, how can we reach you, by the way, for all those listeners who are dying to get a hold of you right now?
You can reach me at my website is buyselllovehouston.com or 713-208-4862.
Tiffany.
BuySellLoveHouston.com.
.com.
I love that website.
We have to remember to call Tiffany when we need to park for a Texans game, by
That's
the way.
right.
Because she is right there.
You're
That's right.
right
You
there.
can park right
At the
there.
Mosaic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Speed dial.
We
Yeah.
need that gate code.
Yeah.
And
Pull up to the front.
Well, you know what? We can sit and we are going to sit here and talk a little bit more, but guess what we have to do? We got to pay for the show.
gotta pay for the
somehow.
show, so-
Absolutely.
pay for this.
Don't go away, Tiffany.